The laughter cut through the soft hum of the restaurant like a knife through silk. That it wasn't friendly laughter, it was the kind that demanded attention, that echoed arrogance. Heads turned. Conversations faltered. Even the jazz playing faintly from the ceiling speakers seemed to pause for a breath. At the center of it all sat a man in a charcoal suit, silver watch glinting under the chandelier light, his smirk dripping with mockery. In his hand, a few crisp bills, fluttering like bait. Across from him stood Ariana Velasquez, a 23-year-old waitress, her face calm but her heart thundering in her chest. She had just mispronounced an English word while serving him. He had laughed, not out of humor, but cruelty. "You work here and you can't even speak English, right?" he sneered, his voice loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "Tell you what, serve me properly in English, and I'll give you $1,000. The restaurant stilled. All eyes shifted to the young woman with the trembling hands. For a heartbeat, Ariana wanted to disappear. But then, a memory, her mother's weary smile back home in Guatemala, whispering, "Don't let pride make you small, Mija. Let strength make you stand tall." So Ariana did. What happened next silenced the entire restaurant, and would be watched by millions around the world. Maison de Lumiere wasn't just a restaurant, it was a world of crystal chandeliers, velvet seats, and quiet power. The kind of place where laughter was soft, money spoke louder, and people like Ariana often faded into the background. She had been working there for months, double shifts, endless trays, long nights, all for one reason: to send money home to her mother and little brother in Guatemala. Her dream was simple but stubborn: to one day become a language teacher and open a small school for children who, like her, had been told their voices didn't matter. That afternoon, sunlight poured through tall windows, bouncing off the polished silver and crystal glasses. Ariana's white shirt was spotless, her navy apron crisp. She moved like a quiet rhythm, unnoticed until her voice caught the wrong syllable. Mr. Richard Collins, a wealthy real estate magnate with a reputation for arrogance, was seated at table 4. His girlfriend, Veronica, in a deep emerald dress, scrolled through her phone. His assistant, Elaine, smiled politely but looked uneasy. Ariana had been describing the soup of the day when her tongue stumbled over a word, a single, fragile sound that hung in the air. Collins pounced. He chuckled, waving the cash like a trophy. "You serve in a French restaurant and can't speak proper English? That's rich." A few diners looked over. A man coughed awkwardly. Ariana's throat tightened. Her face burned, but she didn't look away. She couldn't. Not with her family's faces in her heart, not with her dreams stitched into every uniform she ironed. "Serve me in perfect English," Collins said smugly. "Do that, and you'll earn this $1,000. Ariana took a breath, slow, steady. She lifted her chin, her dark eyes calm. "Very well, sir," she said softly. The first words came with hesitation, her accent thick but her effort clear. Collins smirked wider, tapping his fingers impatiently. "You're trying," he said. "I'll give you that." Then, something inside Ariana shifted. She straightened her back, set down her tray, and looked him dead in the eye. "Perhaps," she said gently, "you would prefer another language?" Before Collins could respond, she spoke again, but not in English. Her voice flowed smooth and flawless. "Souhaitez-vous que je continue en français, monsieur?" The restaurant froze, then Italian. "Posso continuare in italiano, se preferis?" German followed, her consonants crisp. Mandarin, precise and fluid. Arabic, melodic and powerful. Each language poured from her lips like music, effortless, graceful, confident. The air changed. The laughter died. Forks stilled midair. The arrogant smirk on Collins's face dissolved into shock. Even Veronica's wine glass trembled in her hand. Ariana ended in calm, perfect English. "Would you prefer I continue in English, sir?" There was no anger in her voice, only quiet dignity. The bills in Collins's hand lowered to the table. His jaw tightened, his eyes dropped. "No," he murmured finally, "English is fine." For a long moment, the restaurant remained silent. Then, one by one, people began to clap. A few diners nodded in quiet admiration. Ariana didn't bask in it. She only smiled faintly, bowed her head, and walked away. Hours later, as she cleared another table, the restaurant manager approached her. His voice was low, his expression unreadable. "Mr. Collins asked me to give you this." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a check, not for $1,000, but for $10,000. And a handwritten note: "For your courage, your intelligence, and the lesson I needed to learn today, forgive my ignorance. Richard Collins." Ariana blinked hard as tears welled up. But it wasn't the number on the check that broke her composure, it was the apology. For once, she wasn't invisible. She was seen. That night, walking home under the streetlights, the city seemed softer. She looked up at the stars and thought of her mother sewing late into the night, her brother studying by candlelight. Maybe, just maybe, the dream of her little school wasn't so far anymore. She had proven something far greater than language, that grace and dignity spoke louder than mockery ever could. Weeks passed, someone had filmed the encounter that day. The video spread across social media like wildfire. Millions watched as the waitress who spoke 6 languages humbled a millionaire without raising her voice, but Ariana didn't change. She still worked her shifts, still smiled at every customer, still saved every dollar. Fame wasn't what she wanted. Respect, real respect, was enough. People wrote letters. A school in Paris offered her a scholarship. A non-profit reached out to help fund her dream project in Guatemala. And yet, Ariana's favorite moment remained that night, walking home under the city lights, knowing her mother would smile when she heard the story, because in a world that often praises power, Ariana had shown that true strength whispers. It doesn't shout. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that respect and kindness cost nothing but can change everything, please like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who believes in humility and heart. And before we end, what would you have done in Ariana's place? Would you have walked away, or stood your ground with courage and grace? Because sometimes, the quietest voices teach the loudest lessons.